having a little technical difficulty here, so might as well just jump right on into it. You know who it is. El Fantasma. Yo soy aquí por como razón de conscious, pero, you know, it's mucho to explain, so let me just tell you a little bit about, let's see here, tell you about how, I'm gonna read to you a little bit, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna give you a little inspiration, okay? See, this is what we're reading from here, alright? See, I don't know if you know Mr. Dean Graziosi, right? But he's quite the character. I don't mean to have a kind of tone about that. It's just I did a video about him some years ago, and his style, I guess, just gets me to laugh. And, you know, because let me bring this back here, because I think because, you know, I guess just like his excitement, his enthusiasm, you know, it feels good. It tickles, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, this guy is excited about something. Let's go. So yeah, I mean, I'm reading from this book today because there are, you know, for me, right, I do like to, you know, see principle, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are things in life, right, that we must prioritize. And while I, you know, love to make that money, you know what I'm saying, I don't love the money, right? Because, you know, this is something that me and Godmama, you know, have to go over, you know what I'm saying? Because, right, we don't love things. I mean, it's okay to appreciate, it's okay, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to mince words here and all that, but I guess, you know, I just had this conversation with someone today too about just the same topic, you know. And while there may always be, you know what I'm saying, swings in life, ups and downs, and there may always be, you know what I mean, hills and valleys, hard times, good times, prosperity, and, you know, poorness, and, you know, that types of stuff, right? That's kind of just the ebb and flow of life. It's the people, you know what I'm saying, it's the family that is the most important, you know what I mean, not the, you know what I'm saying, again, it's you can't, so anyway, my point is here, that, you know, so the reason why I'm reading from Dean Graziosi is because again, he's a very well-known guy, he's an understudy, what's his name, Tony Robbins, you know, he mentions many different inspirations of his at the beginning of the book. I'm reading from him because, you know, it's kind of piggybacking off of the principle of, you know, spiritual richness. You know, wealth through health, wealth through integrity, you know, wealth through awareness, wealth through, you know what I'm saying, you know, the kingdom of heaven. Like, you know, how does it go, right? In scriptures it says, in the Bible, right, it says that, you know, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and the rest shall be rendered unto you. So it's just saying, get your priorities straight, and then, you know what I'm saying, the things will come, right? So, yeah, to me it makes sense, and for that reason, you know, people like T. Harv Eker, Secrets of a Millionaire Mindset, a great book, I definitely also recommend. People like Eckhart Tolle, I've mentioned before, you know, The Power Now, you know, A New Earth. Again, there's many different people who, you know, exhibit this order, this balance, this understanding. And that's why I wanted to just bring that out before I start getting into this chapter, because, you know, this chapter was really kind of speaking to me, because this is the thing. This, I think, me and my mom, we always, we kind of always went over this principle. It's like, share your story. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to be seen, to be heard. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be. You know what I'm saying? You got to throw yourself in front of the camera necessarily. You don't got to, like, be some nut for, for whatever, you know what I'm saying, just any rando, this and that. But again, it's like a lot of times people might say, oh, again, like people might knock you because of what you can do, right? Or what you got, or what you're able to face, right? Because that's the thing. And in the time and age we're living in, I just feel like with the technology, you got a special story, and if you can do it, you know what I'm saying, bring your story out, either in paper, bring your story out, TikTok, whatever. I'm just saying, like, again, maybe even not for yourself, could be for your family, you know what I'm saying, your kids one day, whatever the situation may be. But this is exactly the topic of this chapter. Here, let me go ahead and flip that camera right there. See, the power of your story. All right? If we didn't have the struggles that we've had, the challenges and the pushes, we would never develop our character. Our character is from those times when we didn't believe we could do it, but we did it anyway, and we fought our way through. In that struggle, we developed our character and our strength. That's Brendan Burchard, an interview with Dean Graziosi. So, each and every one of us has a story, or many stories, that have shaped our lives. At its core, your story is where you live, emotionally, mentally, and sometimes even physically. Your story can either be the wind behind your sails or the anchor that is weighing you down. Our inner villain tells us the stories that hold us back. If you all recall the ways in which that villain sabotages us, you'll understand that he does so by telling us those stories again and again. Stories that we believe are fact, even when they're nothing of the sort. What we need to do is figure out what stories we should be telling ourselves. The ones aligned with the new vision we have for our lives, the ones that enable us to leave our old story in the past. It says here, to habit of aligning your story with your vision takes a little work. But aren't your wealth, your happiness, and your future success worth a little effort now for a better tomorrow? Of course they are. So get engaged, roll up your sleeves, and let's do the work together. In this chapter, we're going to uncover the story of stories that you tell yourself, and how even the seemingly harmless ones may be holding you back and limiting your full potential. And our first step is to understand why you tell yourself and other people certain stories. Once you gain this understanding, you'll learn how to switch that story from a limiting, disempowering one that's robbing you of your confidence to one that can take you to the moon and beyond. All right. Now I'm going to pause here for a moment. See, because you may have just got a glimpse of the title here, Gina's story. Gina's story speaks to me, again, powerfully because it reminds me a little bit of my mother, and how, again, it's important to know that age does not, determine your future. We'll get into it, you know what I'm saying, but I felt my mother, in parts of this story, so, I just, wanted to let you know. Let's get into it. Here we go. Okay. One of my students, Gina, is an amazing lady who eventually became a dear friend. When I met Gina, she had a very specific story she told herself about who she was at the point in her life and who she believed she could be at some point in the future. But before telling her story, let me give you some background about who Gina used to be. She was a stay-at-home mom, and an amazing one at that. While her husband worked hard outside the house at his job, Gina ran the household and managed the family with great diligence, organizing, scheduling, taking care of her husband Nick, giving piano lessons to make some extra money when she could, and basically being supermom. And Gina enjoyed this role immensely. In the back of her mind, she sometimes thought that she had deferred her dreams and goals in order to make sure her family was solid and secure. We all question our choices at times, but for all intents and purposes, Gina was happy with her chosen role. What would eventually make her unhappy, though, was the inner villain who used this lifestyle choice to create a story in Gina's mind that would become debilitating and cause her to question everything. A big shift occurred when one day, when one by one, Gina's kids started going off to college and finding their independence. One daughter married a great guy, and Gina was blissfully happy over this event, as well as her other children's accomplishments. Simultaneously, however, her inner villain created a much different story and a negative emotional state. And when her husband Nick came to her and said, "We need to make some extra money to handle the escalating costs of college and our daughter's weddings," Gina's old story gained power. This old story went something like this. At 60 years old, I have done what I was put on this earth to do and was the best wife and mother I could be. I supported my family at every turn. But now the job has come to an end. Now I'm old, lonely, and with nothing of significance to do anymore. As my friends say, this is the time in life to wind down, to cherish the past, and to spend less so we can make it through until the end. I have no special skills, so hopefully I can make some extra money teaching more piano lessons, or maybe by being a greeter at the local department store. This is a youth-based society, and there's no way an older woman like me could do anything of significance. Well, at least I did a great job as a mom. This story isn't that bad, is it? Actually, it's worse than bad. It's horrific. This story made her feel depressed, that she had no worth, and that her best days were behind her. Even though it was fiction, she told it to herself so often that it started to become her reality. She said it so many times subconsciously that she actually believed it as fact. A common reaction. The emotion that results from the stories we tell ourselves every day create the life we are going to live. It's impossible to boil down what I want to convey into one statement. But if anything comes close, this is it. Your emotions, your thoughts, and your story are your life. It is who we are at any moment, and we project those three things into everything we do. In Gina's life, she was projecting, I'm an old lady now, and I just can't do much. Maybe this is the down part of my life, and I'll just settle in. And that was the life she was living until I helped create a pattern disruption. She started reading one of my books, and slowly but surely exposed her story as a lie. When Gina learned about her internal villain and how he shaped her the story she heard in her head, she was motivated. Oh! ¿Cómo está?
Good.
I know. Man.
Better, eh?
It's alright.
You feel better?
I prefer the beard, you know me.
You look more old. You look more old.
Yeah, well, I'm old, man.
You look younger, you know?
All right, lucky surprise, huh? My pastor, mi como de, mejor amigo. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. All right, let's get back to the story. All right. So let me. She began telling herself what Gina learned about. Okay, here we go. Gina learned about her internal villain and how he shaped the story. Okay, we got that. Gina recognized that if she changed her story... Oh, hello, yes. Thank you for being here. The more she learned about the villain and how he functions, the more motivated she was to stop his harmful storytelling. Gina recognized that if she changed her story, she could change her present and her future. And that's exactly what she did. Gina began telling herself a brand new story. Now, one that totally transformed her life, her family, and the future in front of her. I'm a strong, young, 63-year-old who has discovered the next phase of my life. I'm vibrant, beautiful, There is nothing anyone at any age can do that I can't do. Age doesn't limit us. It empowers us to use the wisdom we have gathered, to be and act smarter and faster. Nothing can stop me from the joy, happiness, wealth, and abundance that I desire. God gave me so many amazing gifts, and I intend to use them all. Wow. A little different from the woman thinking her best days were behind her, and it was time to curl up and get old and fade away. Gina's new story launched her on a new path, and here is what happened. Let's check this out. Okay, see, look, this is a great part of the story here. This is what she has accomplished in 5 years since she changed her story and her habits. She started her own business that's making more than enough for her perfect life, and her husband doesn't need to work anymore. They have traveled to over 25 cities in America, multiple other countries, spoke to a variety of audiences about her transformations, co-authored a book about her experiences, bought a dream home overlooking the bay in Seattle, paid for all of her kids' college educations, used company profits to pay for incredible family vacations, lost weight, got in the best shape of her life, convinced her son to quit his energy-draining job in corporate America to work in her new business, loves to drink great wine, eat wonderful food, and cherish her relationship with God on a new level. Crossed off almost everything on her bucket list, smiles more than any other person I know. Inspired her children as they watched her go for what she wanted and achieved it. Gina noted that this may have been her greatest accomplishment. Okay, think about this for a moment. Gina's new reality didn't emerge because of some change in the outside world. She didn't hit the lotto or inherit money. She didn't get lucky and run into someone at a party who gave her a great job. What changed was her habits, and eventually her story. She became the thermostat of her life rather than the thermometer. If you're not motivated to change your story by now, how Gina changed hers, then you're really dug deep into your old story. And no, Gina wasn't broke or living in desperation or despair. And she finally realized her story was holding her back. She was just living a life that was a status quo, and she was being held back from her full next level potential. When she discovered that she didn't need anything from the outside world to achieve more, she started rewriting her story. It was only then she achieved her dream, unshakable peace and inner happiness. And the money was great, but it was only the icing on the cake. Now you may be thinking, well, maybe this worked for Gina, but what? I'm not as smart or as strong as Gina is. Well, if Gina, the only one who had ever experienced such a dramatic change, then maybe you should still have doubts. But Gina isn't the exception, but the rule, at least in my experience. I've worked with all types of students, a wide range of IQs, backgrounds, personalities, abilities, and they've all been able to do what Gina did. It actually doesn't matter where you are in life right now. It doesn't matter if you already have a great job and a family, or if you have wealth with no fulfillment, or you have fulfillment with no wealth. Regardless, there's a story you must stop telling yourself, or a story you must adjust, because it is preventing you from leading an optimal life in the areas that matter to you the most. Change your story, change your life. I could stop at this point, leaving you inspired by Gina to change your story, but it might inspire you for a day or two, and then your old story would drift back into place. Welcome. You need to anchor this awareness and this change so it sticks with you for life. Together, we will make this happen. I am going to give you the tools to make that shift, to change that story you've been living with, to change your mental state, to develop millionaire success habits, and to build the confidence to go to another level in your finances and in all areas of your life. Now it's time to uncover any stories that could be holding you back. Let's see. All right, there's a little bit left to this. Let's see. There is a little bit left to this chapter. But I'm going to stop right there for a moment because, there's a couple things, some keywords here, okay? One of the keywords is awareness. How do you know in the background of your mind? How do you know what that story is, right? You kind of have to see it. You can't just, you have to sometimes be still, sometimes you just gotta find that narrative, right? It's imperative to find that awareness. Because you'll see that sometimes you find it, and sometimes it can find you. You can let the story unravel. Okay? That's part of the awareness. Again, you as a unique individual, irreplaceable, person that is alive now, has a unique set of circumstances that only you can truly either find or let unravel. Sometimes you got to find it. Sometimes your circumstances require you to put in extra effort to go get it. Sometimes, again, you've been working too hard and you need to let that story unravel naturally. So, again, the key word here is awareness, because as you know, I love to talk about consciousness and finding the awareness, finding the success, finding, the peace, finding, your power, finding your strength, that beauty, finding that irreplaceable part of who you are, no matter what happens. And so that's why I'm stopping right here, because awareness is the key. When somebody says, be aware, what does it mean? It means if you are aware, you don't need to rush. You prevent things in your own life from happening that would otherwise sabotage you. So, thank you. So that's the thing. Again, the awareness will lead you to your story, one way or another. Whether it's because you're going after it, or again, you're letting it unravel. That's for you to find. That's for you to decide. But consciousness, that's what I'm trying to get. See, again, earlier in the story, he was mentioning her subconscious narrative, right? She was saying, "Oh, I'm too old," or I can't do this or can't do that. That was what she was unaware of until she took the reins of her story, and she started saying, "No, I'm a beautiful, strong, so forth and so forth type of person." She started taking the reins on her story, and that's what she had to do. Because again, she was at a point where she probably could not let her story unravel. She was not broke, like it says. She was not desperate. She was not in a situation but she decided to take the reins, and as you can clearly see, it was worth it for her. So, but again, I'm trying to point out here that the subconscious, right? The other day, I was mentioning to my surprise guest over here about how, the subconscious is basically the body, and that's where you have intuitive, it's where you have, a sense of feeling. And yes, thanks for being here. Thank you for the love and the support. So, once again, I'm just trying to bring awareness to enable your story, your success story. Because again, there is no other you. You are the only one of who you are. So no one will live your life for you, And I'm not trying to pressure you per se, but sometimes we need a little pressure, okay? But my point is that, keep going, never give up, realize your value, and, and know you're loved. Alrighty. Thanks for being here. Until next time. Bye-bye.